It's got Mickey Mouse, a castle, and raucous pirates, but it's in Paris and possesses a distinctly European touch. It's Disneyland Paris. Is it worth a visit from Disney fans? I know that I had a blast, and it was one of several highlights during my visit to Paris. I'm Wayne Kawamoto, and I'm a professional magician. When I'm not entertaining at restaurants and bars or on stage, I enjoy checking out new destinations. I guess it's my way of discovering the real magic in the world. We didn't initially plan to visit Disneyland Paris. We were there to see the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Notre Dame, and more. But with the museums closed on Monday, we decided to visit Disneyland Paris. I kept wondering if I really needed to see another Disney park. Since I live in LA, I've been an annual pass holder at the original Disneyland for decades and have made the occasional trek to Orlando. While I expected Disneyland Paris to be mostly a copy of the original Disneyland, I found that the park largely exceeded my highest expectations. This version, for those familiar with Disney-style main streets, will feel much the same, but there are different stores, signs in French, and its own distinct character. The snowfall during the day was really fun. Overall, the park is gorgeous with elaborate landscaping that evokes classic European gardens. As with its counterpart in Orlando, the park is roomier than that in Anaheim. One thing that you'll notice is that the crowds are quite light for a Disney park. There was a train strike that day, and while it was hard for us to get to the park, it meant that others didn't make the trek. The lines were minimal, which was a joy. You'll find most of the usual Fantasyland rides. While the dark rides, Snow White, Pinocchio, and such were mostly the same, there were some improvements. The Alice in Wonderland labyrinth was spectacular with a sprawling area that you can get lost in, and it featured lots of surprises. I can just imagine chasing after young kids in this one. I like the way that the Adventureland combined the roaming paths and wilderness of Anaheim's pirate lair on Tom Sawyer Island with the spirit of Adventureland. The Pirates of the Caribbean features some audio animatronic innovations, and while many of the set pieces are similar, they're presented in a different order. There's no Johnny Depp, but I loved the difference. The spectacular front facade of Pirates is a huge and elaborate Spanish fort. The only minor disappointment was the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril, which was simply a roller coaster with no audio animatronics or even a story. If you're accustomed to the elaborate e-ticket ride in Anaheim, it's mostly a roller coaster with a soundtrack that goes around some sets. In Frontierland, the Thunder Mountain Railroad was the best version that I have seen in 3 Disney parks. It's set right in the rivers of America, and with more land, the runaway railroad can more casually roam and meander, unlike the tight confines of its counterpart in Anaheim. I was also impressed by the Mark Twain and its trip through a very scenic rivers of America. Phantom Manor, the park's version of the haunted house, is in Frontierland. What lies in this decrepit old ghost town home is a pleasant surprise. While the layout and track is similar to that in Anaheim, the theme with its wronged bride is strikingly different. In Discoveryland, the Space Mountain is to die for. The Paris version features an unpredictable track and actual physical meteorites and other objects, unlike the projections used at the other park. And the loop and corkscrew come at unexpected and unanticipated moments to add to the thrill. We enjoyed the nighttime entertainment that featured parades that we hadn't seen in the States. While I wouldn't make the trek to Paris just to visit Disneyland Paris, I highly recommend it to Disney fans who are vacationing in the area. It's a great addition to your visit to the Louvre, Notre Dame, the Eiffel Tower, and more.